What's the story, NXT fans? We're 2 nights away from NXT Takeover.
And 4 nights away from WrestleMania.
Yes. Tonight's topics on the Wrestle story are the War Raiders on a rampage.
Io Shirai making her presence known.
I need to give me this one. Dominik Dijakovic. And Keith Lee in 2 weeks.
All that and more coming up on the Wrestle story.
Welcome back to the Wrestle Story, where we discuss all things wrestling, the legends of the past, the superstars of the present, and the trailblazers of the future. We stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT. And this week we're going to stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We will be back tomorrow for our predictions on NXT Takeover and WrestleMania. And boy, am I so excited.
We are going to keep score and see who has the better predictions.
Yeah, we are. We're going to see who does better. We're going to see who ultimately wins. It'll be kind of a competition, and the winner gets a Snickers.
Yes.
I decided that just now, like at this very moment.
Good idea.
Because we like Snickers.
So you'll have to buy me a Snickers.
Okay.
All right.
And if I win, you have to buy me a Snickers.
All right. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and then hit that little button that tells you, or the little bell thingy or whatever you call it, to let you know when we go live.
Yes. So, Wednesday, NXT. Decent show, I thought, for the most part. Lots of recaps because we have Takeover on Friday. And so, I mean, there's not a lot you can say, I guess, about it, but you can still put some of your talent on the card, at least. On NXT.
Well, I think a lot of leading up to this is just kind of getting you to Takeover and getting you set up for that. So the show starts off. We have the War Raiders against the 2 guys I called Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I don't even know if they said their names.
No, they did not.
But it kind of...
I think they just came out from underneath the ring and like Hornswoggle, and they were like, oh, cool, guys in the ring, I guess we'll fight them.
Well, the funny thing is, it reminds me of, the old WWE where, nowadays you have, like, named wrestlers pretty much in every match. Mm-hmm. And there was a time where you would have your superstar against some no-name. So this kind of reminded me, threw me back to the old days when I used to watch wrestling.
It's a throwback. So, War Raiders are in a match to begin the show. And they win against Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I
was shocked by that. I couldn't believe it.
I know. I thought Tweedledee and Tweedledum were going to take them out.
I was expecting the upset.
I was too. I mean, and then, going into Takeover, they'd be like, throwing off their A game because they were beaten by Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Twig and Twiggier.
Yes.
So then they get on the mic and they say that GM Regal has let us come out here and show our opponents for Takeover what we're going to do to them. And then they say, bring out the next team. And then we get the War Raiders versus, oh my goodness, I'm going to butcher their names.
I would just say Cesar and Adrian because their last names you'll mess up.
Bonani, Caesar,
Bonani,
Cesar,
and Adrian
Bonani
Jadu,
and Adrian,
I think is what they said their names were.
You got me. Cesar and Adrian.
They're actually, those 2 guys are pretty big guys. I mean, I'd like to see them see what they can do, and maybe the plan is to start using them some. But I think this was kind of, you had the 2 little guys that the War Raiders destroyed, and then they decided to bring out the 2 bigger guys that
actual tag team
the War Raiders were going to destroy. And so the War Raiders end the match, pretty quick.
And they win again. So that's 2 wins in one night.
I think the whole idea behind this is just to get the War Raiders out there before NXT Takeover because it has been a long time since we've actually seen them in a match.
Last time we saw them was probably a month or so ago when they came on to, I almost said Raw. When they came on to NXT, when the tag teams were calling them out, saying, hey, we want a shot at your championship.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen them.
It's been a very long time. Like, literally, they have not been on TV at all.
No.
In recent weeks.
No. So, I think the whole idea behind this is, again, just to get them out there.
Yeah.
So, going into Takeover. So then we have a video package with Pete Dunne, and Walter from the NXT UK. And
it's essentially just talking about their title match that they have at TakeOver for the UK Championship. I'm excited to see this match. I've never seen Walter wrestle. I have seen Dunne wrestle, but not Walter. Walter's a big dude, man. He's huge.
You know, the thing with this is I've seen a lot of people talk about if they're going to have a title change, why are they doing it at TakeOver? Why wouldn't they do it over in the UK? I think this gets these guys on the biggest stage. You know, more people will see them at TakeOver than they would if they watched them on NXT UK.
Yeah.
And so, and
I don't mind it being on the card because it adds another match to the very small card already.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it.
I may be wrong, but I think at the end of this month, I think that there's going to be, and I might be wrong, I'll have to check, but I think that there's going to be some NXT UK wrestlers wrestling here on I don't know if it's on NXT or what.
Or I know they're supposed to be wrestling at live events.
Yeah.
Here.
So, you know, I think the whole idea, you know, they've got some pretty good wrestlers over there. So I think, trying to expand and get them out there.
Hello. So hyped for TakeOver. I honestly couldn't care less for WrestleMania. I'm really hyped for TakeOver, but I'm also really hyped for WrestleMania.
Well, the one thing about TakeOver is like I said, the storylines are better on NXT. So, I mean, you know, I could see people being more hyped for TakeOver rather than NXT, or rather than Mania, just because the storylines have been better on NXT. And so, you know, I look forward to Mania just because there's some matches I would like to see, but there's a lot of matches that, you know, like you said, could care less for.
Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle, prime example.
Yeah, and with, you know, 938 matches on Mania, it's going to, you know, be a long 7 hours.
It's okay. We'll sit through the whole thing. Hello, Austin. How are you doing? Great to see that you came to stop into our stream today.
Yes.
So they showed that. I'm curious to see what happens with that match at TakeOver. We'll give you our predictions for everything, for all the matches tomorrow. We'll be back. I don't know what time yet, but we'll be back sometime tomorrow evening.
That's why you have the little bell. Make sure you hit the little subscribe and hit the bell button to let you know when we do go live.
Yeah, because we'll be back tomorrow to talk about TakeOver predictions and WrestleMania. So I'm very excited to see that match, though. I'm curious to see what happens. So next we have a Candice LeRae interview outside from earlier in the day. And she gets asked about Johnny Gargano's title match on Friday, and then she says, I'll be watching that match, but I will also be watching the women's match because I want a chance at that title. Then in comes Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah, per usual, ruining things for everybody. And they say, you think you are ready for a title opportunity? I don't think so. You are going to be just like your husband, where you can go to TakeOver, but you're never going to win. And you're not going to win any matches anywhere in NXT. And then Candice LeRae threatens Aaliyah. And later in the evening, they announce that Candice and Aaliyah will have a match next week on NXT. And
again, this is, creating storylines outside of your main events.
Yeah.
We've talked about having to build storylines on your mid-card and lower cards.
I talked about this last night.
And so, when they start to build these storylines, it makes everything more interesting. And so, you get these storylines being built. And I think that overall, the fans, obviously Austin is for TakeOver, and probably a lot of it has to do. Why are you more hyped about TakeOver than Mania, Austin?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I'd like to know your thoughts on that as to
why you were more hyped for TakeOver than WrestleMania. I'm hyped for both. I just like wrestling in general, and I've been following both. Obviously, we've been following both in the recent months, and so I'm hyped for both. Like, probably say equally.
Yeah.
No, for the most part.
I'm
really excited for WrestleMania though, because I get to see Becky Lynch on the biggest stage ever, and she's gonna win the title and stuff. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I think people are, might be more people that actually watch NXT might be more hyped for that, just because of the reason I said is, storylines are created and followed, and people kind of get more invested into it than they do with WWE, the main roster right now. See, I always want to say WWE. It's all WWE.
It's all WWE. WWE and NXT. It's like it's two separate brands, but it's not, because it's all one. So next, after that Candice LeRae segment, we have an Oney Lorcan. We have an Oney Lorcan. We have an Oney Lorcan. We have a match against Oney Lorcan and Jaxson Ryker of the Forgotten Sons, or the Not So Forgotten Sons, or the Very Forgotten Sons. Depends on how you look at it. And Jaxson Ryker ends up getting the win. What do you think of this match?
Again, I think, I don't know, I kind of expected the outcome that we got.
I did too. Is Jaxson Ryker undefeated?
I don't know. We'd have to check. I think
every match I've seen, he's won.
I think so.
Storylines, the NXT guys themselves. I could see how you could be more hyped just by storyline and the NXT guys. I really like the guys down in NXT a lot. Like, you got Adam Cole. I'm a big fan of Adam Cole. I really like Adam Cole. He's great. Velveteen Dream, Matt Riddle, Well,
I think, the storylines, obviously, and you're right. But I think they really pushed the NXT guys to be out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it's easier to get to. Again, I think a huge part of it is the storylines, because you get to see the guys actually interact and create the storylines.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that came across in a senseful kind of way.
So, Austin, I'd agree with you. I think that, I think the storylines are a lot better.
They have more consistent storylines and that mesh together, and they go with previous storylines like they had done, like Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, for instance. Like, all of their previous stuff would have been, all of that is what would have led up to their final match at Takeover if Ciampa had not gotten injured. They do a really good job of remembering what they had previously done and then sticking with it and going, oh, well, yeah, you did that several months ago, and this is why I'm doing this now.
Yeah.
And WWE sometimes, or WWE.
Well, and the one thing they've done
I guess WWE doesn't do a great job of that all the time.
Well,
they start storylines.
No, they don't.
And then they come up with some random nonchalant thing, and then you're like, huh? How does that go with anything at all?
Then they don't know how to use, like, if they have to fill in for somebody, they don't know how to go about using and creating the storyline with that.
Yeah.
And a perfect example here is the Johnny Gargano and the Adam Cole match. I think that they've done a good job knowing that Ciampa's not going to be there, of bringing Adam Cole into the storyline and creating a storyline.
They did a great job with that. Like, literally, and it was just in a week that they did that. All of that was done in 1 week.
Yeah, I mean,
Adam Cole won the match 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Or, well, I guess it'd be 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
So he won the match 2 weeks ago, and that's how he got it in this match to begin with. Last week, they created a storyline as to why Adam Cole is in this match. I mean, obviously, he won the previous match 2 weeks ago. But they gave him a reason as to why he's taking hits at Johnny Gargano and why he thinks that he should be the next champion and why their storyline works.
Well, yeah, definitely. And if you compare this to what, the main roster's done with Kofi Kingston and how they did that whole thing, and, even the Becky Lynch thing, I think that they botched that. They had the big hype going, and then they kind of killed it, and it's slowly coming back.
I was gonna say they brought more hype in this week when they had all three get arrested, and then
Well,
it was a fun time.
But then I think that just the storylines that are being built in NXT are a lot better, and it's a lot more entertaining.
I will agree
to watch, and again, I think it's part of it is the storylines. And part of it is the NXT guys, but I think that, a lot of those NXT guys will move up, and some of them are going to be shuffled under, if WWE, you know, the main roster continues the way they do it, they'll just shuffle some of these guys that come up under the rug and won't use them properly.
EC3.
And so, you know,
EC3.
So
they're gonna EC3 the main roster guys.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what we're gonna call that from now on. EC3ing. You EC3'd him. I can't believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a kind of a recap of the Johnny Gargano Adam Cole
situation from the last 2 weeks. Well, again, like we said, well done. Really well done storyline. Just in 2 weeks.
Who do you think's gonna win, Gargano or Adam Cole? For those of you that are watching,
I have my pick.
We'll give our picks tomorrow. So, you know, tomorrow evening we'll give our picks, and so if you want to come back tomorrow and give us your picks, that's fine. If you want to tell us who you think will win now, then
go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Because, you know, why not? So they show a recap of Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole, and then they show a recap of Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream. And this storyline, I do like the Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano one better. But, again, Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream, good storyline. For the most part.
I think it's a good storyline. You know, I used to, like, when Matt Riddle first started out, I wasn't a huge Matt Riddle fan. And
you were like, bro, with their flipping your flip-flops off?
Yeah. And I've slowly started to like his character and the angle and the way they've used him, and even to, you know, with the way they're using him against the Velveteen Dream and creating, you know, the storyline that they've got going here with them. So, you know, it's
the Dream is not your bro.
Yes.
That was the best line.
Yes.
That Velveteen Dream has, like, said.
They've definitely, you know, like I said, they've done a good job with this, and so anyway, you get the recap there. You then have a recap of, I'm going to let you say the name.
Dominik Dijakovic versus, or they have the recap of, see, even I screwed it up. They have a recap of the Dominik Dijakovic and Keith Lee rivalry from the last several weeks. Now, they were scheduled to have a match 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, on NXT, and then it was scrapped, and that did not happen, and we were like, what? So then
wasn't that the same week that the Ciampa's issue popped up?
No.
That they decided they were going to.
It was the Dusty Classic. Dusty Classic started, I think.
Was that the start of that week?
I think so.
Yeah, we'd have to go back and check our notes.
I don't remember, but it was a couple weeks ago. They were supposed to have a match, and it never happened. So they have an interview with Keith Lee, and they ask him when will you two guys get to fight? When do you guys get to duke it out? He says, I came here looking for a fight tonight, but we got bumped from tonight's card, but I'm happy to tell you that we have a match in 2 weeks on NXT. So we will see them in 2 weeks, and then they also announced Keith Lee didn't do this. They ended the Keith Lee interview, and then they go back to the announcer table, and they announce that next week we will see the Street Profits versus Eichner and Barthel, and then the Candice LeRae versus Aaliyah match. So they pretty much have the card booked out right there. We know what's going to happen for next week on NXT.
I think there'll be a lot of recap on Takeover. I think they'll have these couple matches. And this is the one thing, the one thing that I do not...
This NXT, the week after Takeover NXT, for the last Takeover, was trash. Absolute trash. This will be a good week after Takeover NXT taping.
Well, they've already, since they've already announced their matches, and maybe they learned from, what they did the last time. I don't know. We'll see.
Last time there was one match on the card, and it was a whole bunch of recaps, and it was terrible.
Yeah.
They probably got the worst ratings they'd ever gotten ever on that show.
Well, and that's the one thing, about these is having a lot of recaps. These are, I understand
why they're doing it right now, because they have a
Takeover, but, you could bring out some of the talent that you don't use a lot. Mm-hmm. Bugenhagen could come and wrestle.
Mm-hmm. He could. I love him. I put out a tweet today. I was watching a video from the WWE PC YouTube channel, and they were talking about their predictions for the Royal Rumble. And you would never guess who Eric Bugenhagen picked. The one person who was never scheduled to be in that Royal Rumble match. Becky Lynch. He knew before everybody. He made the call right then and there. And man, I wish I had watched that video sooner. But he made the pick and he called it. He said, my pick, the man, Becky Lynch. She's going to win the Royal Rumble. And I put up a tweet and I was like, this guy's a psychic. Yes. Becky wasn't even originally in the match. She didn't go in until Lana got injured, and then she was in. But this dude had it all figured out from the very beginning. He was like, Becky Lynch gonna win. And then she did.
So then,
he's a genius. See, this is why I like him. I knew I liked him for some reason.
Yes.
Right there.
Then we have the Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane match.
This match ended exactly the way I thought it was going to. With Shayna Baszler, Jessamine Duke, and Marina Shafir coming out and attacking the women in the ring. Then, after that, we had Io Shirai who came out and attacked. Yeah, well, I guess she didn't attack. She was helping the other two women in the ring to fend off Duke, Shafir, and Baszler. And then the entire women's division comes out. The entire NXT women's division, mind you. They come out, and they help get Baszler and the two goons out of the way. And then Io Shirai takes them all out with a moonsault from the top rope. And then she is left staring at the NXT Women's Championship. And she grabs it, hops into the ring, and holds it up like she's the champ.
We've had a lot of that over the last, couple days where someone has knocked someone over and they hold up the title, which I think you might see some of them win. But I think it's kind of foreshadowing that, the ones that kind of held up the title might not win. Like, on Twitter, you had Charlotte Flair holding both titles in a picture. Mm-hmm. I would say that that's kind of a sign that she's not going to win.
If she does win, there will be a riot on WWE's hands. Like, there will be no stadium left by the time all those people leave. Because people will be mad.
Definitely.
Like, they will burn the stadium down. And they won't wait for Charlotte to get out of the ring. They'll just burn it down while she's still in it.
They might.
And then, Seth Rollins will come out and do his burn it down to end the show. That'd be great.
Yeah.
There you go. Booking right there, WWE. Book it! No, actually, don't. Please don't. Please don't. Nobody wants to see Charlotte with both titles. Sorry. I don't. Oh my gosh! Real quick, sorry. This has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with Ronda Rousey. Did you see that she made t-shirts that had her mugshot on them, just like Becky Lynch's?
I didn't see
I put up a tweet. I said, lovely t-shirts, Ronda Rousey, but you ripped off somebody we all know. I wonder who that could be. Becky Lynch. She ripped off Becky Lynch.
Are you shocked by that?
No, because that's what she does best.
Yeah.
Is rip off people. So
that was kind of the end of the show. It was short.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, hour-long show, but there's a lot of recap.
It did feel very short. Like, there wasn't a lot. We saw the War Raiders for the first time in forever.
Again.
So that was good. Some
building of storylines, which is really good.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of get an idea where things are going to be headed.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking forward to some of that. Outside of that, I don't think that there's really... We don't have any other news for today, do we?
No, Elias was on Busted Open Radio today. I didn't get to listen to it yet, but I'm going to.
Oh, one other thing. We haven't mentioned it. I'll go ahead and do it now.
What are we mentioning?
Jim Ross has signed with AEW.
Oh my gosh, I saw this on Twitter and I was like...
Should I say that again? Because I don't know if anybody heard me, because you'd be like, whoa!
Sure.
Jim Ross has signed with AEW to be a commentator.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he was going to be a commentator or if he was just going to work backstage.
According to what I saw, he's going to be a commentator.
Oh,
he's going to do both.
That'll be great, man.
If you watch, if you haven't seen the Double or Nothing on YouTube, they have little short videos. I can't think of what they're called right off the top of my head. I can't either. Check YouTube just to make sure. but they have Double or Nothing. They've been doing a little short. Hello, Bendy boy.
Hey, Bendy, how's it going?
They've had short clips of Double or Nothing, and they do like a little skit where they are kind of telling a story behind AEW, and so which is I think is pretty cool. And so, if you haven't seen it, go check it out on YouTube. Again, I can't right off the top of my head. Are you pulling that up?
I'm looking for it.
Because you might be able to pull it up faster than me.
I'm looking for it. I can't think of what it's called either.
If I could think right off the top, I can't. See, this is what happens when you're not totally 100% prepared. And I just thought of this right before we AEW The Road to Double or Nothing. And it's just there's different episodes for it. Right now that was episode 10 where they talked about Jim Ross. Basically, Cody Rhodes comes out and says, I'm excited to announce our broadcast team and
I saw the who's the other one? I can't think of what the other guy's name is. Who they have on the broadcast team. What's his name?
I don't know, but they have the girl. The girl has been on if you're on Twitch for
Impact.
Yeah. She has done shows on there for that. So, look forward to, seeing what AEW. Yeah, Excalibur is one that's going to be. Yes.
That's who it is. Oh, I couldn't think of what his name was. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Austin.
Good job, Austin.
That was it. Excalibur. I was like, it was on the tip of my tongue. And I could see his face, and I know what he looks like. That's it. Thanks. So, shout out to you, man.
I'm kind of looking forward to AEW announcing, their TV deal. And hopefully they do it soon.
You would think they would have already announced it, but they haven't.
Well, and then maybe they're waiting until they get closer to...
Maybe they're waiting till after WrestleMania.
That's possible.
And then all the hype dies down, and then they bring the hype back up because they're like, oh, what? We're going to TV! Man, thanks, man. Excalibur. That's his name.
Yes.
It was on the tip of my tongue, man. I couldn't think of what his name was. I was like, oh, what is it? And, there it is. Excalibur. Thanks.
Good thing Austin was here to save the day.
Yeah, because I wouldn't have known what I was talking about, man. I was like, man, I saw his face in my head. Like, I closed my eyes and was like, that's his face. I know what he looks like. What's his name? That's it. Excalibur.
So anyway, AEW's kind of doing through and announcing some things. Look forward to, as we get closer to Double or Nothing, to seeing where that goes. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully they get something out on TV so people can start to, follow these storylines and not just on YouTube, because I think, putting it out there, YouTube's fine, but I think that putting it out there on
television will get more views.
Although in today's, world, maybe if they put it on YouTube, then they'd be, or Twitch, something like that. Maybe
Impact does pretty well going through Twitch.
They do solid. I mean, I don't think, it's like
crazy,
huge,
but
crazy.
I watch Impact every
and I don't expect AEW, to compete, at least initially, with WWE, but, they've got some named, brand name wrestlers that will make
I know
it
that they just had Allie from Impact. They had her sign with them, and they killed off her character on Impact, and I saw that. And I was like,
yeah.
Never seen that done before.
Yeah.
That was quite interesting.
So
yeah, I mean, they have quite the lineup of people. I mean, they got Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, so
funny thing is, I heard, Chris Jericho has his podcast and he interviews people.
And he was just recently on Busted Open and he talked about AEW.
Yeah, and he interviews people on his podcast, and he's kind of, WWE wrestlers have been kind of banned from talking to him on his podcast.
I find that very funny. Just imagine that Vince McMahon coming in one day and saying, I am banning all of you from going on Chris Jericho's podcast.
Yeah.
You are not allowed to speak to Chris Jericho. You're not allowed to look at Chris Jericho. You're not allowed to even think about Chris Jericho.
Which I think,
we are disowning him.
Which it doesn't make a lot of sense. Again, I don't know what they expect of these wrestlers because they don't use a lot of them the right way. So some of them kind of get a bad taste in their mouth when they're dealing with the WWE.
Well, what I don't understand is, like, what Chris Jericho talked about recently was that, he was, a couple years ago when he did his friendship festival thingy with Kevin Owens, they were supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania because Kevin Owens was supposed to have the title and Chris Jericho was supposed to go for it, but then they changed that. Kevin Owens lost the title to Goldberg. They ended up doing Brock Lesnar and Goldberg as the main event, and they were second on the card.
Yeah.
And so he was like, this is dumb. Like, it was planned out this one way, but then it got changed.
Well, the one thing they've said is, and I've heard Jericho and Cody Rhodes both say that the wrestlers are going to have more
freedom with their characters.
They're going to have more say in the the route that things go, the way things go, the storylines that are created, which I think is good because if they do it that way, you've actually got the participants actively involved in helping create storylines and
it's not all creative.
Yeah, because
obviously
sometimes...
Because maybe the wrestlers, they run their social medias and stuff. They can listen to the fans and, the fans want to see this. Oh, well, then let's give the fans what they want.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And then the only other one thing that I saw today was that the... what was I going to say? Oh, I remember what I was going to say. The Cruiserweight match for WrestleMania, it looks as if it is being moved to the pre-show. Makes me very sad. Because, quite honestly, I'd much rather see it on the main card, finally, for once in, ever, than see it on the pre-show.
Well,
because the pre-show was, what I originally saw was that the pre-show was supposed to have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and then the Women's Battle Royal. But now it looks as if they're going to put the Cruiserweight match on there too, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah, we can get more into that, tomorrow when we talk about...
Yeah, but I just kind of want to mention that because that's the only other, newsworthy thing that I saw.
Yeah, I think it's kind of dumb that they're doing it that way, but hey, what has WWE done that's...
smart recently?
Logically, recently, so...
Logical. That's pretty much tonight's show.
We will be back tomorrow evening at some point in time.
I don't know what time exactly for sure. Probably around the regular time that we normally stream for Raw or SmackDown. So 9:30, between 9:30 and 10:30. 9:30 and 10.
Probably 9 and 10 o'clock.
9 and 10 o'clock. Yeah. I'd say. So just subscribe and click the notification bell so then you're notified when we go live. So then you'll know for sure.
Yes. Reminder: we stream every Monday night after Raw, every Tuesday after SmackDown, every Wednesday after NXT.
And this week, one time only.
We are streaming.
Well, for WrestleMania at least. For WrestleMania
every day this week.
Every day.
Tomorrow, a prediction show. Friday, the NXT Takeover recap. Saturday, we will have the talk about the Hall of Fame. Sunday, we will do the WrestleMania show.
I'm so excited.
And
looking forward to it. I'm glad you're looking forward to it, Bendy, because I'm really looking forward to it as well. Are you looking forward to Takeover? I'm looking forward to Takeover. I'm also looking forward to WrestleMania.
Yes. So, with that, make sure you hit the bell.
Make sure you subscribe.
Subscribe.
Don't just hit the bell. Just subscribe and then hit the bell.
Subscribe, hit the bell, so you know when we go live, and everybody can come in and check us out. Austin, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you stopping in and chatting with us. Bendy.
Yeah, and thanks for letting me know, Excalibur, because I'm a ding dong sometimes and can't remember things.
And Bendy Boy, as usual, thanks for stopping in and saying hello and chatting with us. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, as we will do our predictions
for Takeover and WrestleMania.
Peace out.
So until then,